One might glance at LunarLux and pass it off as standard indie JRPG fare, and understandably so. But perhaps there's more than meets the eye with the latest release from developer Cosmic Nobab Games and publisher Freedom Games. Let's explore the great unknown in our review of LunarLux. Hey now, don't get lost in space while trying to find signs of life in the gaming echo chamber. Be sure to subscribe right here at I Dream of Indie Games for all the latest indie game news, reviews, and so much more. And head on over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames to join our indie crew and gain Discord access, exclusive live streams, ad-free versions of shows, and so much more. Your community is waiting. If it wasn't obvious, LunarLux is deeply rooted in science fiction themes. Players will control Bella, a bubbly pink-haired anime girl who carries a deep love for her deceased mother. Bella is determined to live up to her mom's proud legacy by attempting to defend Luna from a deadly comet that threatens humanity. She also needs to battle against mercs, wretched monsters that stand in her path. Bella is not alone in her quest, as she has the help of many allies of the moon, most notably a companion robot named Tetra. Tetra and Bella have the strongest connection throughout this narrative, with some great dialogue segments occurring between them. While there are other supporting characters throughout, none of these relationships are quite as poignant. There are two important facts you need to know that will determine whether you will enjoy LunarLux or not. First, there is a lot of dialogue, like a lot. So much in fact that at times I was begging to get back to the combat, which is honestly quite entertaining, but more on that soon. Secondly, get ready to interact with just about everything. Almost anything you come across throughout your travels can be triggered using the action button, almost to the point of driving me mad. Your tolerance for this will vary depending on what type of player you are. I'm not sure I needed to have long scripts of text for a little bowl of ramen, a trash can, or a table, but hey, that's just me. The game is broken up into chapters and the pacing can feel a bit off at times. Players will sift through tons and tons of story segments, some of which are interesting and pack a bit of an emotional punch, with other moments feeling like an eternity. Scenes play out something like this: talk to so-and-so for what feels like forever, learn your next mission, wander the town a bit and purchase items, pick up a few side quests, and eventually find yourself in some creative turn-based battles. That's simplifying things a bit, but I just want to give you a basic feel for the core gameplay loop. So now that you understand you'll be dealing with tons of conversations, some of which go on way too long, and an insane amount of bumping into every little object, let's talk about my favorite feature of LunarLux, that combat. To my shock, this is one of my favorite combat engines in a JRPG in recent memory. Bella and Tetra work together in battles using a variety of active skills and support skills. Each active skill will cost you a bit of SP, so management is essential if you hope to survive. The skills do vary a bit from one another, such as your standard attack allowing for a second strike should you press the correct on-screen prompt, or even attacks that will grow stronger if used consecutively. Support skills grant such perks as temporary invincibility for a turn or add additional damage to your attacks. As you progress and gain experience, you'll level up your skills and learn more along the way. There are 40 active skills in total, along with 30 support skills. Adding to the engaging combat is a semi-free movement grid system. Some enemy attacks can be manually dodged, others will throw you into a minigame that might elicit memories of playing Undertale. This system really keeps you on your toes, but more importantly is strategic and satisfying. You might even recall some memories of the Mega Man Battle Network games. I just loved having to balance whether I would have enough shield or SP, and then having to weave my way through a hellacious spell or dodge at the right moment. I'm probably not explaining this perfectly, but trust me, it's pretty awesome. Hopefully the video here helps. The downside is that battles can go on for a very long time. This wasn't so much a problem for me, as I welcomed the break from the sometimes heavy-handed and clumsy story. Your reward for leveling up? You'll gain 10 more HP to your total, and active skills will also become more powerful. There's more to be discovered in this combat system, including some very powerful Lux combos that you can unlock, but listening to me go on about every system isn't going to be nearly as enjoyable as discovering all of the small intricacies for yourself. Trust me when I say it's a blast. In total, there are 5 different enemy attacks which you could say play out a bit like mini-games of their own, and I love them all. Yes, things took a bit to get used to, but ultimately, once I really nailed down a foe's pattern, I started to feel untouchable. In fact, this game can be completed without leveling up a single time if you really want to test your skills. Now, I know I was a bit harsh on the fact that LunarLux has so much dialogue, but you can't say the developers aren't proud of it. Interactions with NPCs will raise your affinity for a given location, adding a touch of incentive for interacting with any and everyone. Boost your reputation enough, and you just might score some sweet discounts at shops around towns. It's a pretty cool idea. You'll also eventually unlock jet suits that you can change into. Yes, this game has a pretty unique way of getting around, as you can quite literally fly about freely if you wish, or if a particular story segment allows. There's little little portals that you can touch on, and that will allow you to enter your suit, and you can really fly, like go anywhere on that map. Outside of your suit, you do also have a ship for traveling across the moon, which you could almost think of as the game's world map, minus the insane random encounters every few moments. That's nice. Yes, fly about freely from town to town, mostly worry-free. You gotta love it. LunarLux does not have a robust navigation system, however, getting around really isn't all that much trouble, with important events being labeled by a yellow exclamation mark. There are also different colored markers for the various events and side quests. Luckily, each new area isn't all that massive, so you won't get lost too often. The game also features a decent quest log, and Tetra can remind you of your next objective. Heck, there are even spaceship parts to be gathered, which allows for you to customize your ship. As far as visuals are concerned in this title, the pixel art is definitely serviceable. That's a good word for it. It is not exceptional, it gets the job done. LunarLux does have some really nice portraits, decent environments to explore, and some solid enemy design. It's not a mind-blowing looking indie release like I touched on, but the art gets the job done, and you'll appreciate it if you typically enjoy the anime style. Menus are fairly easy to navigate, and so overall, it's a nice looking title, though offers nothing particularly new or exciting in terms of design. However, when it comes to the soundtrack, it's very impressive. A mix of moody synths and electronic pulsing drums. This is an excellent set of compositions that had me bopping right along with them. The soundtrack is very effective in creating different moods, even when the script can miss the mark here or there. If you aren't a fan of classic chiptune soundtracks, then LunarLux certainly won't change your mind, but for me, this is one I'm dying to add to my collection and would have no problem listening to outside of the game. Really good stuff. So all told, I enjoyed LunarLux. I think the plot could have been tightened up a bit, and yeah, it gets a bit carried away with the absurdity of being able to interact with everything, but the rewarding combat is just too damn good to pass up. If you are a fan of the Mega Man Battle Network games or love the fighting in Undertale, LunarLux has much to offer you. I think Bella's a really neat character with some compelling attributes, but she's ultimately caught up in a script that gets a bit bigger and more convoluted than it needed to be. But still, LunarLux has a pretty big heart and big ambitions. It's well recommended.